Hey everyone, this is Amy from Eat, Breathe, Move, and I'm continuing on my How to Feed Yourself series. And I wanted to show you how I make breakfast in real time. I'm actually going to make it for you while I talk, and that's just how quick it is to make it. So, one thing that has come up over the years when I talk to people about health and what they eat is that they generally don't have time to eat breakfast, or all they'll have is an orange juice and some toast and a cup of coffee. And I know for me, that would not get me through the day. I would be asleep by 10 o'clock, and or if I'm not asleep, I'm struggling to stay awake in some meetings. So things changed for me the most when I started eating this breakfast, and this is pretty much the version of the breakfast I've eaten almost daily, mostly Monday through Friday for the last, maybe not quite 10 years. And it is super quick. I make it before I go to work, and I eat it when I get there just to save time. So what it is, I'm making some vegetables and a poached egg. Usually I make two, but I only have one because I didn't go to the grocery store. So the first thing I do is start the water for the poached egg. I don't have a fancy pan, I just use a saucepan. I just don't fill the water up very high, and it works just fine. I use apple cider vinegar. If you don't have apple cider vinegar in your house, you can use white vinegar or champagne vinegar. There is a school of thought that says, you don't need to use vinegar, you can just swirl the water and put the eggs in. I've tried it before, mostly because I forgot to put the vinegar in, and I guess I tried it once with the swirls, and it just didn't set up the yolk or the white quite the way I wanted. And I find that the vinegar does it, and it's easy, so I'm just going to do it that way. So I start the water and put the vinegar in it because that has to come to a boil, and that's going to take the longest time. So then I'm just gonna put some fat in my pan for the frozen vegetables. And I kind of like to mix up the fat. I'll either use butter, this is coconut oil. Sometimes I'll put in some leftover bacon fat that I have from if I made bacon. And just, I like the bacon fat just because it gives it a nice salty flavor. But you only want to use bacon fat if you use high quality bacon, or to save your fat from high quality bacon. So make sure it's, I don't know, they have pasture raised pigs, but from well cared for animals. You don't want to just go get your Oscar Mayer bacon and save the bacon fat. There's just no point in that. So I'm just going to use coconut oil today, get it heated up, and then I just use frozen vegetables. So I get these at Whole Foods. They're about $2.70, $2.30 each for a little bag. And so I always use spinach. The water's boiling, so I'm going to turn it down. I actually started that a little early. It doesn't usually burn that fast. So I'm going to dump in some spinach. And then I have the California style blend, which is just broccoli, cauliflower, and carrots. I like it because it gives it a little bit of substance to the food. I also like the stir fry blend a lot, and I like that because it's got mushrooms and onions and peppers, so it's just a little bit of variety. So that's getting started. My water's already boiling because it was hot, so as soon as it comes to a boil, I just turn it down to where I'm going to want it on the stove. I've kind of figured out on my burner where I want it, where it needs to be to get it to the boiling speed that I want. So this takes a little bit of practice. You can, the trick with poached eggs is finding the right cooking time. So I did a video on this a couple weeks ago, but the gist is that you want a slight boil, and then it's all about playing with the time for how long you're going to cook it. Okay, so All right, and then, so because these are frozen, I go ahead and cover them because I just want them to cook fast, right? This is the whole point of this breakfast, is to get it done and get it in the container and get to work. So let's see. Okay, and then so then I have my eggs, and I use pasture-raised eggs. That's super important to me. One of my favorite quotes is, "You aren't what you eat, you're what you eat eats." So chickens are meant to graze on a pasture. They eat bugs and pick at the dirt, and their natural diet is what makes the egg so nutrient dense. When you change those living conditions, when you shove them in cages and feed them soy or corn, and when they're cage free, which just means they get to run around in a giant warehouse of filth, they're not producing the egg that you want to eat. So always look for pasture-raised eggs. They're more expensive than conventional eggs, but to me it's totally worth the cost. And it's even, I think these were just $6, and I paid upwards of $8, $9 for a dozen before. And to me, it's so worth it. It's, you get what you pay for, and this is not where you want to skim. So, like I said, I just have one today, so I use a little ramekin for the poached egg, and I'll just crack the egg in the little glass, and then I wait. I want to wait until the vegetables are done, or almost done, because the poached egg is so time dependent. So I don't want to be still cooking the vegetables when the poached egg is done, because then the egg doesn't, I need to transfer it into the dish, and if it stays in the water for too long, I don't get that nice runny yolk that I'm looking for when I'm making poached eggs. So let me just check on this, give it a little stir. You could also, if you wanted to make this even faster, and I thought about doing it, but honestly, it's just easier for me not to, but you could take the vegetables out of the freezer the night before and just put them in the refrigerator so that they can thaw out, because really these things, the vegetables are already cooked, you're just heating them through. I also like to put, let me see if I can get that. Tripod is right there. I also like to put curry powder on my eggs. It has the turmeric, which is very hot right now with its anti-inflammatory qualities. Plus, it's just one of my favorite flavors. I love curry powder and enjoy eating that. You could also, another way I like to make this breakfast, sometimes I like to mix up the meat so I'm not eating eggs all the time, so I'll get ground beef. And with the ground beef, I'll do some taco seasoning on it and maybe some extra oregano. I'll put salsa on it, and so you can change up the flavors a lot, even if your base ingredients are the same, depending on what spices you like. You could just sprinkle it with cumin. You could have an Italian seasoning mix, whatever flavor you like. And I know people can often get bored of eating the same thing over and over again. I don't have that issue, so I'm happy to eat the curry powder every day, and just also it's me on autopilot, so I'm not really thinking. But you can mix it up, and you can mix up the meats. Like I said, I do ground beef. You could do breakfast sausage. You could do slices of steak. It's just, for me, what I'm looking for is protein, fiber, and fat. And then the vegetables are carb, but they'll have fiber in it as well. The other thing I do is I slice up half an avocado, and I'll put that at the bottom of my dish, put the vegetables on top of that, and put the eggs on top of that. I'm not going to do that today. I'll eat that later, just for time's sake. So I'm thinking the vegetables are going to be done enough. And so then I take, I'm gonna go ahead and cook my eggs. So I got my water boiling at the temperature, or at the kind of the rate that I want, and I just take the little ramekin and dip it in the water and dump out the egg. The key to a poached egg is the time. So I'm gonna set my timer for 3 minutes and 30 seconds because I've played this game before and I know that's the temperature, or that's the time that I like. When I take it to work, I cook it for just a little bit less because it's gonna sit in the dish for my drive from here to work, and it's gonna continue to cook because the vegetables are hot and the heat's being trapped inside the container. So I usually cook it for 3:15 on the days that I go to work, but I'm gonna eat it right when we're done. I don't know why that beeped at me. Let me make sure the timer's gone. Oh, no, something happened. So now I'm just gonna set it for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Oops. Oh, for crying out loud. Okay. Oh, all right, forget it. I can't seem to get that done, so I don't want to deal with it. So I'll just look at the time. It's I kept hitting timer. I don't know why it went. So it's 2:38 now. We'll do it at 8:40. So the key again, I eat a protein, fat, and fiber breakfast. So what this is going to do, it's going to stabilize my blood sugar through the day. So if you eat toast and cereal and orange juice for breakfast, you're going to get that sugar spike, which means insulin's being released into your body, and then you're going to get that sugar crash. So that would mean, like, if you ate that breakfast around 8 o'clock, you'll probably be really hungry and sleepy, if not by 10, then by 11:30. And what happens to me when I have that blood sugar crash is I can never get off the roller coaster for the rest of the day. It usually takes me going overnight, and I don't know why this is true, in order for it to kind of regulate again. So this is the breakfast that's gonna stabilize my blood sugar through the day. I never get to that point in that 3 o'clock meeting where I'm pinching my leg or shaking or just writing or really just taking all my concentration to keep my eyes from shutting, which are all real situations I've been in before. So just got another little minute, so I'm gonna take my vegetables and put them in my bowl. And see, that's it. So when, let's see. So now we're at 1:40. I'm just gonna look at it and see if it's what I want. It's close enough. Luckily, you know, you don't have to be perfect. I just don't want, I like a nice, soft, runny yolk. So I'll eat it if it's more cooked than I want. But, you know, if I'm gonna cook it, I might as well make it the way I like it. And you know, yesterday I was cooking the eggs and one of the yolks broke. I was so sad. So I just dumped it, you know, I just picked it up and quickly dumped it on, you know, the vegetables. So the yolks just ran over the vegetables and it was all fine. It still tastes good, you know. This isn't a restaurant where you're wanting to make sure that the presentation looks great. So there's my breakfast. You could have a piece of toast with this, but again, it's like, why do you want to add that extra sugar that your body has to deal with? This will keep me going until it's 8, almost 9. So I probably won't need to eat lunch till 1, and I'll be fine. So that means that I'm not going to be thinking about food at all until I get that feeling in my stomach that goes, and it's a knock at the door. It's like, oh, okay, it's now time to think about food. Where if I'm eating a really high sugar breakfast, it's, you have to eat now or you're gonna die. And by the way, I'm gonna take away all your coherent cognitive reasoning skills so you can't even make reasonable choices about what to eat. So that to me is the difference between this breakfast and kind of your standard toast, cereal, orange juice breakfast, which I do not recommend for anyone. So I'm gonna go eat this. And I also want to invite you to my masterclass I'm going to put together based on this theme of videos. It's called How the Heck Do I Feed Myself? And this is kind of the culmination of everything that I've been working on for the last 10 years about how did I train myself to learn how to plan and prep to have healthy, nutritious food when I need it. I talked a lot about having moved to San Francisco, or from San Francisco to Sacramento, and the quality of the restaurant food just isn't that great. So now I have to make my own food, and I've been actually enjoying it. So I'll put a link to the page for the class in the comments below as soon as I have it ready today, and I hope to see you there. And let me know, what kind of breakfast do you eat? Is this something you'd be willing to try? Or if you've tried it in the past, what were your thoughts about it? Or if you're like, nope, I'm just gonna keep eating my cereal. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Share in the comments below, and I will see you on the next video. Take care.